One of this country's most popular and abundant ways of sourcing cheap merchandise, and typically the cheapest merchandise and the best deals, is garage sales and yard sales. Those are the sales where you go around your neighborhood, you search through people's stuff out of their garage or out of tables they set up, and you buy stuff for 50 cents, for $1, for $2. They just want their house cleaned out. You can get a deal. You can buy $25, $30 items for $1, for $2, and flip it on eBay and Amazon just as quickly. Now, 3 things to remember about garage sales. 1, there's a garage sale app. I will link the link to the app location, but you'll need to go to your iPhone or your Android and download the garage sale treasure map, which will be down there as well. That's gonna give you the location of every yard sale, garage sale in your area that's been registered on many, many sites into that app. Also, you can search Craigslist, OfferUp, LetGo. You can Google yard sales in your area. There's tons of ways to locate garage and yard sales every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The second thing to remember is these are going to be cash. You're gonna wanna go to the ATM and always withdraw cash. If you are buying inventory in cash, this is a question that I get all the time, you're gonna need to get a receipt, an invoice book from like Walmart or Office Depot. Just buy one for $4 or $5 and keep it with you. When you purchase an item from a garage or yard sale, you're going to write down the item, write down what you paid, write the date down, and if you can, write down maybe a little address or a neighborhood that you bought it out of. That way, if you ever get audited by the IRS who says, looks like you bought $400 in merchandise, you can say, yes, I bought them from garage sales. Here are the receipts that I paid cash. The other thing that will help back it up is if you go to the ATM and withdraw $100 cash to take to the yard sales with you, keep the withdrawal slip and staple it or stick it with that receipt of the day that you bought everything and stick that into your files. That's how you will prove what you bought in cash transactions. It's the only way. There's no receipt, there's no credit card statement, there's no wire transfer. It is simply cash, and you have to keep a ledger of what you've withdrawn and what you've spent. If you don't spend all of the cash, keep it for next time or go deposit it back into the bank and then get the deposit slip to stick with it as well, so you can show that you only spent 80 and then you can show that you put the 20 back in. And so that's how garage and yard sale purchasing goes for cash. Now, on to the actual act of garage and yard selling. Always plan to be there early. Of course, the earlier you get there, the better you can get. Most garage sales start between 7 and 8 a.m. Second tip is if you can find community garage sales. That's where you can go to, the entire road is having a yard sale, 10 or 12 or 15 houses all at once without having to drive around. You could park your car at the end of the road, walk all the way down and walk all the way back up. Community yard sales, at least in this area, end up being like 50, 60, 70 houses. It's absolutely the best way to do it. Call around to communities, ask their HOAs, ask people in the neighborhood if they know when it is. Typically, neighborhoods have, at least good-sized neighborhoods, have Facebook pages, so you can look them up. And then under the event tab on the left, it will show the community yard sale. Ours has it on our Facebook page. So just look up the neighborhoods and then go there and you can ask other people who live there if they don't have an event tab with the community yard sale. Next on garage and yard sales, make sure you inspect everything. Make sure you look at everything because a lot of people are getting rid of junk. There's a lot of people that sell broken stuff. Always be prepared to negotiate. Always ask for a lower price. The worst they can do is say no and then you can still get it. Make sure you pick up items that you want. Don't leave them sit because someone else right behind you might pick it up. And make sure you have enough transportation and enough storage to be able to, get everything that you want so you don't have to come back. One of the worst things is having to pay somebody for something and come back and get it later. That's a pain in the butt. So try to take the right kind of vehicle if you can. Early, 7, 8 a.m. up until about noon or 1. Sometimes at the end of the yard sales, you can certainly pick up the items if they don't want to put them back in for cheap. And one of the tips of things that I used to do a long time ago was I would tell every person, I would message, I would call, I would leave business cards for people having yard sales and ask them to contact me after Sunday when they were done, and I would make them an offer on everything that they had. I'd always just give them an email rather than a phone number, and that way I would get about 40 or 50 emails, and I could go through and just delete all the ones that were junk and go through and find 1 or 2 or 3 garage sales that I could buy out. So buying out garage sales is another way to get a lot of inventory if you are open to buying and selling everything. Obviously, if you live in the South, if you live in Florida, you live in Texas, you live in California, out west, Nevada, Arizona, yard sales are pretty much year-round. If you live in the North, in Minnesota, if you live in Chicago and it gets cold, it gets snowy, it gets icy, you're gonna have to make the most out of your yard sale season during May, June, July, August, during those 4 or 5 months where it's warm and it's hot. And then outside of those, during the cold months, during December and January and February, you're gonna have to have either enough inventory stocked up to list it all at once, or you're gonna have to come up with alternatives, which are the online yard sale groups inside of Facebook, which we'll talk about in just a second.